Hey everybody, welcome back in. Giving some time for people to get notified that I am live. We're simulcasting, so both on YouTube and on X. Before I get started here, so you guys can see the QR code right there below my avatar. If you guys want to help out the channel, the monetary donation, we'd surely appreciate it. But biggest way you guys can help me out is just by smashing that like button, sharing this on other social platforms, so that way more and more people can find my content. I decided to go live instead of make a video on this today, just kind of like really dive in deep on a discussion because it's making its rounds on social media. May have a special guest that pops in, so we'll see what happens. Nonetheless, yeah, so no visual of me, literally just going to be audio, so hopefully that's okay for everybody out there. But what I wanted to get into is the Google Pixel 9. That is one thing that I've shared on my platform, and I just kind of wanted to expand a little bit more. So I wanted to get people's thoughts. Nothing is taboo here, so feel free to go in on the Pixel 9, whether if you like the new design, if you hate the new design, feel free to express that. Really, that's what we got going on for us right now is just a design leak, which, I sadly to say, Google, I would say safely that these leaks are intentional, possibly. Just because, I mean, yeah, every year it's leaked out. Every year it's leaked. It's just, it's leaked. There's no safeguarding anything. There's always a device that floats out there. What was it when they were going to release that they made a satellite product, the Google Pixel Watch? Then some genius who probably was, testing it, left it at a restaurant. And it just ended up on the internet for everybody to see. Such a flop of a launch of a product, right? But we got to see the Pixel Watch and what it looked like. Hello, Gene. We got to see that. Every iteration of the Google Pixels has been literally shown before release, and it's so funny because like we've seen digitally made reproductions of what the device would look like, renders made by people, so we kind of knew that it was gonna have this rectangle boxish feel, almost very iPhone-esque, and I think that it's safe to say that we already had an idea. What up, Coffee? Welcome in. We already kind of had an idea that, it was going to have the same type of camera bar that the Pixel Fold has, right? Which is the camera bar island, rather than the camera bar extending from end to end and connected to the frame of the body of the device. We already knew that. There were so many renders that showed that. But now more than ever, has it ever made such an impression where someone actually leaked it. And I mean, you have this pink color, this pink rose color. And so that is the thing that we're really going to be talking about today. And kind of going in on that, I do have a little bit of specs brought up just to kind of go over that too as well. There's not too much set in stone just yet. And then, of course, obviously, the biggest kicker of them all is that, made by Google is on August 13th, 2024, rather than, October this year. But without further ado, I have somebody who's joining me on the show today, and I really appreciate him for giving us his time. So let's give a warm welcome. Sneed Mobile Tech. What up, Sneed?
Tito, what up?
How's it going, man?
Not bad. Is my audio good? Any extra curricular noises going on?
No.
All right, great. Thank you, man.
Clear as a whistle, man.
Appreciate the invite. Thanks for letting me on, man, to talk pixels with you. It's a lot of exciting energy around this phone. And now that we got the leak, dude, I there's a couple of things I want to say. So I'm excited to discuss them with you, man.
Heck yeah, man! I'm always happy to have you on here to talk pixels, dude.
Thanks, man.
Um, this design, I really want to start out with the design because that is like the one thing that I'm seeing so much about. It's not so much of the Tensor G4 or what type of new AI features is coming. That's not everyone's concern. Their concern is the actual design. So I think you've given a little sneak peek to me of your thoughts on it, but I want you to expand on that. So just of what you've seen with the leaked video, what's it feel to you?
Tito, see if you can pull it up. See if you could do like a screen share or something so people can see it, because it'll make more sense as we discuss it, that they have something to kind of connect it
Way
to.
ahead of you on that.
Yeah, man, let's do it. All right, so that's the picture I saw. That's the
Yeah.
same post from X from that dude from Algeria.
Yeah.
Yo, there is so much monkey business surrounding this phone and that video and that person who leaked and posted all this stuff. All right, so first of all, the dude is from Algeria,
Yep.
and people were like replying to his post that had the video and the photos and all that. And he was like, he was getting all these questions. People were asking him stuff, and he wasn't denying them answers, but he was like, well, I'll answer those things tomorrow. What the hell, man? If you got the phone and you got this footage, what do you mean you'll have answers tomorrow? The phone is in front of you, is it not?
Right.
You could just peruse the phone, observe the phone, go into whatever setting or whatever. And he was like, well, I'll answer these questions tomorrow. What the hell? You can't just drop that news or that leak and then not expect to get a bunch of questions and inquisitive minds like, yo, what's the deal, right?
Yeah.
And then, so like, that's all we got, and those were the responses we got to the questions. And, this goes to show you, Tito, it feeds into the conspiracy of plants within industries.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is an early leak. Even like when we've seen leaks this legitimate, this is actually early for that, because typically Google drops their phones in like the early fall, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So we're like months away from that. And you would think that this is the final build of the phone. This is what it's going to be. And to be honest with you, Tito, it's hideous. Like I don't do sexy phones. I don't do the whole like nice looking phones. Shit's weird to me, you feel me? But
Yeah.
there is unattractive. There is poorly designed. There's poorly engineered. There's like all these different things that phones can be. Like this is suspect.
Yeah.
I get iPhone 5C vibes off of this device, dude. And that was arguably the worst iPhone ever.
Yeah.
So like that's why I don't like this. I don't think this is it's not a good look. I don't think phones have to be sexy. I don't think they can be sexy. But they can be very unattractive.
Yes.
Right?
True.
Where you would be like, damn, that thing, like, it's like cars, right? Like a well-designed car, a well-built car, it's got like a sleek exterior or whatever. There's ways to describe use words to describe devices. Bro, this is ugly.
That is the number one thing that's being said mostly, is just how unattractive the device is. And I really wish they didn't do this. Like the whole designing of it. I mean, they've adopted the camera bar island from the Pixel Fold. Only because they wanted the sides to be flat, which, you can't blame people for saying it's copying iPhone, because iPhones have flat sides. I think they should have stuck with kind of the like as far as the sides, if they had done the same thing they did with like the Pixel 8a, which is not super flat like what's shown in that picture of the 9, but it kind of does have a flat feel a little to it, but still kind of rounded, so that way the camera bar frame would extend all the way to the sides. They should have maintained that, in my opinion. This looks weird. It looks like an Among Us character. Honestly, it does. Wow. That is...
So that rear camera thing, right?
Yeah.
I would want to know a couple of things from Google directly for the design language and the engineering. I would ask, is it required that the back camera system requires it to be raised that much from the body of the phone? Because if the answer is, we had to do this because it was a compromise because of X, Y, and Z, then fine. You have to build the utility before you build the aesthetic, right?
Yeah.
So I get if that's the priority, that's cool. But if they by choice decided to just make this thing abnormally large and raised, that's just completely like unnecessary. Like in order to create something unique, you had to make it ugly. You see what I'm saying? Like, so I'm hoping that they come out and say something. It could be in an article, it could be in the whatever, an interview with somebody from the design team. They could say, look, we had to make a compromise. There's this hardware that's in there. In order to accommodate it, we had to do this. That's fine. People will accept that because the functionality will be something awesome, right?
Yeah.
But if it just becomes this, we just needed to make it look different, well, go to hell, because now it's hideous. In order to make it look unique, you had to make it terrible? Like, what? And nobody will ever pick up a Pixel and say, I'm buying this because it's attractive, or it's good looking, or it's better. It looks better than an iPhone. Like, who cares, right?
Yeah.
But come on, man. You like, the hardest thing to do in the smartphone industry, because of Apple, right? The hardest thing to do is get momentum and then build momentum. Nobody has been able to do it. Like, could we even make an argument that the Galaxy line devices, have they gained and acquired momentum, and have they built on it or maintained it? It's hard to say, because they keep like 1 year they see a little spike in adoption rate, the next year it's down a little bit. We haven't really seen them do that. So like, Google has an even harder time, and then they do things like this.
Right.
I mean, this color is bad. The design is, I mean, if it's not outright lazy, it's just unattractive.
Yeah. I agree with you on the points on that. The thing that I find that's crazy about it is, like, going back to the camera bar and it being that raised from the body. And I do know that with the Pro models, unless they made the phone thicker, then the camera bar would be raised the way that it looks, only because of the telephoto lens and how the telephoto lens is set. I forgot exactly what they were really going in on it. Basically, for the size of the sensor that was in for the telephoto and the Pro models, there was a type of pixel bending that they were doing to achieve, a really good shot with the telephoto lens when you're, zooming in, or, you're going in on macro mode. And that was the reason why that they had them like that. But my thing is that if that has to do with the telephoto lens, why they have the camera bar raised, I don't see why they couldn't have the camera bar on the regular 9 flushed to the body. I mean, they do that with the A series. The A series doesn't have that big of a bump camera bar. It's very, very minimal. So yeah, I agree with you on that. They definitely they should really kind of talk about why, because if they just did it to make it like aesthetically look the same as the Pro models, I mean, you definitely can see a difference between them, because one has 3 sensors, one has 2. So people are not fools about that, and it does make the device look a little weird. That's what it looks like to me. And the sad part is the 9 is kind of like Google's Hail Mary. It's like make or break for them this year, really, when it comes to the 9 series. They've been doing this, 9 generations already, and the first 4 generations of Pixels have been like the Frankenstein experiment, testing out what works, what doesn't work, adding in things like Project Soli, and then taking it away. That's what I call that chapter. With the 6 going forward, it was really Google just finding its own identity, not building it to copy Apple's design and all that. So kind of staking their own, but they've been questionable about things like the 8 series. I was questioning them on that with the Gemini Nano and compatibility to only the 8 Pro. Now they've given it to the 8 and the 8A. And so there's a lot of things that Google does that's very questionable. This one, to me, ranks up there because, I mean, yeah, the camera bar thing doesn't bother me as it was before. But this camera bar, I don't know. It just feels weird.
Tito, it can't be just exaggerated for the sake of exaggeration.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's where I think it boils down to. And this color,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll bet a stake with anybody that'll take the bet that this will be the ugliest color of all the choices. You know, if they've got 3 or 4 colors,
Yeah.
this one will be the ugliest one, whatever that pink is. I mean,
Yeah. I've
it's
heard.
almost not even really pink. It's more like a salmon, right?
Yeah. It looks very salmonish. It's supposed to be called rose, which is the so funny thing about it because
Roses are red.
it doesn't remind me of even if you like, went to the store and got a pink rose. This does not kind of correlate with
Nah,
that.
nah,
Not at all
nah.
whatsoever. So I honestly feel like that. I mean, I don't know if they're trying to cater to to women out there for them to have like a color that kind of bonds with them, but they still could have picked a better color or at least a better shade.
Was that the problem, Tito, with the Pixel devices? They didn't cater to women before?
Um, the biggest problem with Pixels is that they don't cater to much people as far as like design and color options. The nerds have always been the ones to go after Pixels. I mean, just in the last 2 generations is where you know the everyday person that's looking for a new smartphone decided to give Pixel a shot. I guess that's kind of why they started like they kind of going down on passing out Pixels to Team Pixel members is because they started to get like an influx of non nerds buying it, and so they're like, okay, they've done their job. People know about them, and I guess they're just Google's just weird. They're just trying all these things. Maybe they're trying
Speaking
to.
of speaking of that, Tito, the Team Pixel thing. Does
Yeah.
anybody have these phones?
I haven't heard from anybody else that I know that's on Team Pixel getting a Google Pixel device in the last year. Like the bigger guys, like Marquez and them, yeah, of course they're gonna get them. What was it, the Unlocker, Unbox Therapy? Like those guys are getting them, but like B Tech, who's part of Team Pixel, he hasn't gotten one in a while, and I don't know if CV Tech got one. I don't think he did. So I don't
Yeah, I
know,
was
man.
gonna say I haven't received any hardware from Google for a while. I think the last device they sent me was the Pixel 7 Pro. So
And
I
that's kind
haven't
of
gotten
messed up.
anything. Yeah, I haven't gotten anything from them since. So I'm assuming that their I don't know, marketing plan has been modified, and they backed away since the original onslaught of the 6,
Hmm.
from the 6 to the 6 Pro and the 7 and the 7 Pro, and then I'm not sure who got folds or whatever. I never received one of those or any A devices since the 7 gen. So yeah, I mean, I to me, it seems like they pulled back a little bit after having a little bit of positive momentum with the 7 generation.
Yeah, I think so too. I know I won't say the person's name, but somebody else had given me a little insight. It looks like that the liaison you guys had, Mark, no longer works with them anymore. And I think that's when the big change kind of happened. Because right when I guess he left Google and he no longer is the liaison for Team Pixel, it just seems like that everybody that was part of Team Pixel that's, not at the I don't want to call them the million subscriber mark, but more of just like the YouTube backed creators. Anyone aside from them was no longer getting devices sent to them, which I think it's kind of messed up because people put in the work. Like, yeah, it was like free, kind of like free advertisement for Google because they just had to send a device. I mean, you guys did all the reviews and the talks and whatnot, but at least to thank you guys for your service, if they were going to disband this whole program, they should have at least given you one last one or give, at
I
least
will
that's what
tell
I
you
would have
this,
done.
Tito. Now that I know that, I had no idea that Mark had moved on from the company. But he was fantastic. He really was very good at his job. I mean, he was a great communicator. He was a great facilitator. He was very fast and swift and efficient, kind, courteous, respectful. I mean, he did everything very, very well. So they really did lose a quality employee and a quality individual. I mean, they lost a lot with him. I'm sure they replaced him with someone, or maybe they didn't, right? So,
Yeah.
and they maybe he was somebody fulfilled his position, but then they changed the job description and that abandoned part of the program. So yeah, that's all a possibility.
Yeah, I always felt sorry for Mark because as soon as it hit like the internet that he was the guy that communicated and brought and also looked for new members to join Team Pixel, like everyone slammed him on social media, like get this guy in there, get that guy in there, get this girl in there, and I was like, oh man, I can only imagine his job. Besides facilitating and also keeping you guys up to date and sending you, because I'm sure he sent out documents to confirm your address so they shipped it to the right place, and then checking his Twitter feed and everything, and it's just like everyone's just trying to jump on board. I mean, at one point I was. Um, so yeah, big shout out to him. I know he moved out of the United States and he left Google, and that's about as much as I know. I follow him on Instagram, so I see his little adventures, and he still posts tech videos like of laptops and stuff that he gets a hold of. And I think he does that on YouTube also. But other than that, I mean, that's just what I'm told. So if I'm wrong, someone let me know. But that's what I heard from.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, that sounds about right. Shout out to Gene for the super chat.
Yeah, appreciate that, Gene.
Thanks, Gene.
I don't know, man. I'm like this idea because with this whole box design, and this is just my thought process on it, because I was watching on TikTok, I was watching Technoid. Shout out to Technoid. I love his videos. And he posted on X also as well about like the upcoming Galaxy products, like the Galaxy Buds, and how it's very similar to AirPods, and the Galaxy Watch being very similar to the Apple Watch Ultra. It's like things are kind of resetting back to the old days where Apple was kind of leading into things and other companies were mimicking it. And I feel in a way Google's kind of doing this, and which leads up to this really odd design. The colors, they can change the colors, for anything. There's multiple colors. So like if none of them work out, I mean, there's always the obsidian. I've always felt like, the black color is like a really awesome color for, a Pixel phone. But this flat sides, I think, is what led up to this really weird camera bar setup. I mean, do you think that they're kind of like, mimicking Apple?
In terms of the design?
Yeah.
Not really. Why? Because the edges are rounded, but the design is overall flat? Is that the premise?
Yeah, that's the premise. A lot of people feel that way.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. But see, that camera bar is it stands out so much, like physically. It almost takes away from that design element. So I almost don't even notice that. But yeah, I guess it does have kind of like the iPhone silhouette on the edges or whatever.
Yeah.
So does but the Galaxy was doing it too.
Yeah.
I mean, so they're all this, look, I don't know what the best choice is. I don't know what drives their decision to do these things, but that outside design, the exterior portion, the perimeter of the phone, that's not what makes iPhones great. So them adopting it is not going to accomplish that. It's not going to all of a sudden qualify it as being great.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the things that I'll ask, straight up question, judging from what you're seeing so far, because I know most of the specs is really not out there just yet, right? We don't know the battery sizes yet, and additional features or whatever that they're going to add into this, because again, Google's more software than hardware. So this kind of like shows that. But this year, are you actually going to upgrade to a Pixel 9, or are you just going to hold back for the 10 and see what the 10 looks like and what they bring to that table?
The only way I'm going to buy a Pixel, because I've been very patient with them. I've been very supportive of the Google devices. I mean, I've had every Pixel that was ever made, every generation. I had, the Nexus devices before that as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've been riding with them, but the Galaxy devices have just gotten so much better. The separation between the two is so extreme, hardware-wise.
Yeah.
The only way I'm buying a new Pixel is going to be if it's as good as my Galaxy. It cannot be lesser because I'm paying, $700 for a brand new Galaxy S24, and I'm getting the pinnacle of hardware
Hmm.
in the Android space. I'm not going to pay 900 or 1,000 for a Pro model Pixel and get a lesser piece of hardware. And by
Yeah.
lesser, I mean it's going to be problematic. I'm going to have a beta, processor. I'm going to have, experimental hardware. I don't want to deal with that. Although I will admit my favorite flavor of Android has always been the Google version. So I want the phone, but I'm not going to compromise
Yeah.
inferior hardware to that degree. It cannot be 7 degrees of separation. If it was close, we could rock with that, but I'm not going to pay premium pricing for an extremely inferior hardware based device. Like, I can tell you right now, Tito, my S24 is some of the best battery life I've ever had on any device. And that's
Yeah.
without the phone being large. With the larger phone, you get the bigger battery capacity. I have the regular S24. It is by far the best battery life I have on a phone right now. And I have a 14 Pro Max iPhone.
Nice.
Yeah, and the camera is very good. The video is better than the Pixel. I still give the photography edge to the Pixel over the Galaxy, but it's close.
Yeah,
You
it's
see what I'm
really
saying?
close.
So like you're looking at the total experience of the phone. I'm gonna drop $700-800 to get something much lesser. Not a good compromise. That's just bad business.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. I want to expand on the whole Samsung Galaxy, and this should be alarming for Google. So like, this is why I wanted to be a part of Team Pixel, is because of the whole background where Team Pixel guys get together along with the moderator and they go over things. Because I mean, they're smart people at Google, but sometimes I think they overlook what can happen with consumers. And so, like you said, it has to be on par with the Galaxy, because you're not wanting to deal with experimental things and beta things. You just want it to work and how it's supposed to work.
Because you're not paying experimental prices, you're paying premium prices.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And I'd like to consider myself a nerd, and so this is where I get that the Pixels are in trouble, because, like you said, you can get a Galaxy S24, and to anyone else out there, hear me closely on this, because you can get a Pixel experience on a Galaxy S24 two ways, and one of them's more easier than the other. But there are people who are willing to mess around with their Android device to achieve that level. The first way, which is a little bit more, I don't want to say it's hard. If you can follow directions, you could do it. But you could generally flash a custom ROM onto the Galaxy S24, removing one UI and using stock Android, like vanilla stock Android. And the times that I've used Samsung devices, when you put vanilla Android directly onto a Samsung device, it is phenomenal. It is $1 million. That's why they used to have the Google Play editions where it was stock
Right.
Android.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to go the route of putting a custom ROM, Android devices today can actually dual boot, and you can flash GSIs. Like there's two slots on them, and if you flash GSI, like a GSI stock Android to slot B, then you can boot directly into a vanilla Android that way. So that, I feel like, is starting to drive the knife into the Pixel, because that was one of the things that everyone always talked about Google Pixels, like, the Pixel experience, the stock Android in them, and all this other stuff. It's like, but you could achieve that with the Galaxy S24, S23, and it is going to fly smooth as what you would get on a Pixel, and even better than on the Pixel, because again, I back the Tensor chips, but I do know that the fact that they were using Samsung, it wasn't a good fit. I'm glad they're making the jump to TSMC, and hoping that the relationship there is much better, and the G5 performs a whole lot better. But that's the killer to the Google Pixels. That's always been the thing, and I don't know if Google ever really considers that, because there is a community out there that still relies on at-home developers to build something unique and feature packed, and they go to it.
But here's some other things to consider, Tito. If the issue is market share,
Hmm.
Why isn't there a presence for Google at the carrier store? And
Yeah.
it's and that's just one piece of the equation. Like, you have to be in the carrier stores and you have to have trade-in deals, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But you can't just give any trade-in deal. You can't give the same value as the iPhone because you are in a position of weakness and you don't have the same mind share as Apple. You actually have to have better promotions than Apple. So if Verizon is giving people $1,000 for an iPhone,
Hmm.
then Google has to do 1,100 for a Pixel, or they have to do it, $100 better than a Galaxy,
Yeah.
because they don't have that mind share. They are going to have to change in order to make this thing happen. Otherwise, they will continue to get the same outcomes every year. There simply cannot be, well, let's keep spinning the wheel and wait for something to catch. It doesn't work that way. People define insanity all the time in their remarks. You can't do the same things and expect different outcomes. And
Right.
that's what I feel could be happening here. The project about, these Google Pixels, the way that it's playing out, it's not truly attacking the crux of the issue. It's pussyfooting, it's tiptoeing around the real problems.
Exactly.
The weaknesses that exist today are the same weaknesses that existed last year, which existed the year before and the year before. They have not truly attacked those weaknesses and, the steps to address them. It could systematically happen over 1, 2, or 3 years. They could garner market share, but they have not truly done it. It brings to question whoever is the head of this project, whatever the team, whatever they're doing. Are they actually trying to do what they're trying to do, or is it just, we're just doing this to do it? Because Google has done that with all types of projects where they're just
Yeah.
aimlessly doing something and then they bail. But they don't have to bail. They have FU money. They don't
Yeah.
have to bail on anything. When Google bails on a project, the people that were ahead of it just decided to walk away and start something else. It's not because they ran out of money.
Yeah.
Google prints money. Go look at the market cap, look at the shares, how they trade. They generate, tons and tons of revenue. Name a bigger, you can't name 2 or 3 bigger companies, right? There's Nvidia, there's Meta, there's, Apple, there's Google, Microsoft. Like, that's who's bigger than these companies.
Right.
They could skip producing Pixels and probably save money. They could skip for a year, just continue to produce the same Pixel they made last year, just reissue it at $100 discount, and they would probably save money, right? So it's not the money that's the issue. It's the wholehearted effort just doesn't seem like it's there. The moves that they made have not been effective. It's sad to see it, but it's the truth. For a
Yeah.
company that is so technologically advanced, ahead, has the resources that no other company has, it just doesn't make any sense.
So I think it's safe to say I can say this to I can't say the person, but I can say what I've had conversations because I have somebody that's an insider to the G company. Um, so it's kind of funny that you said that because I guess they were hoping that people couldn't see it that way. In reality, and the truth is with Google Pixels and also with Google Fi, one of the reasons that Google really kind of does this is, Google being under Alphabet. I think one of the things that they kind of get worried about is, having the, who is it, like the federal government go in and disband them
Regulators.
apart. Yeah,
Regulators. Yeah.
regulators break them up. So because of the amount of money that they're making, from what I'm told is they do these projects. They do like, they dump money into like the Google Pixels, and they're not that serious of pushing it only because of the fact that it's saving them from having regulators come in and divide up the company. That's what I'm told. And it does feel that way because, like you said, like they're pussyfooting around. Like it's you in this market, in the mobile tech industry and the telco industry, you can't be passive aggressive, right? Like I felt the same energy out of Google Fi. Like there's so much potential for Google Fi, yet they don't really kind of push themselves but they kind of push themselves with just advertising, but that's about it. But they're not really aggressive. Like you don't see them as
So
aggressive as
Tito, let me
Verizon.
ask you this: remember Project Fi, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What carriers did they work with in terms of network access?
No, Sprint, T-Mobile, and U.S. Cellular.
The three smallest providers you could think of at the
Mm-hmm.
time. See what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
They didn't go to AT&T. They didn't go to Verizon. Because those guys are too big. You know, this all kind of comes into place. You kind of see the puzzle pieces coming together. You start to see the picture. To be so apathetic towards improvement just doesn't make any sense.
yeah. I like this comment right here from Ant W. It says if Motorola would just join the software update space like Samsung, they could kill Pixel phones. I don't know. Would you kind of agree with that?
I mean, Motorola's, you know, it takes resources, it takes, you know, labor and, you know, manpower to do those updates, and you know that's a lot of, you know, payroll that they have to pay those folks to design and test and launch and all those things. And you know, they're a much smaller scale company than they were before, and that's probably beyond their budgeting. You know, they don't garner the sales to probably command that, you know. So to me, you know, they're, what are they doing? Are they doing security patches every few months, and then they're doing one or two,
I
you
think
know, major software updates?
I think well for I guess for their flagship, I guess you can call it. They kind of just more focus on that one when it comes to like software updates and security patches. For their mid range, like the Stylus brand, the G Power, the regular G model, and the G Play, they maybe give one software update, maybe 5 security patch updates, and that's it. That's really their life expectancy.
They're a small company now. You know,
Yeah.
ever since they've been, you know, that whole Lenovo thing, it's just not, that segment of that business just small. You know, their best selling devices are mid rangers, aren't they?
Yeah, because I know right now they're pushing the Razer and Razer Plus, the foldable. So it's like they're kind of switching up their tactics, and instead of going in on the Edge, now they're going in on the Razer Flip.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, as someone who owns a Razer Flip, the audio on them is terrible. The display brightness is average at best. There's like a lot of compromises. I doubt they're making a better Flip version than the Galaxy Flip. You know, I'm not even sure if it's better than the Google version, you know, with the foldables.
Yeah,
I don't know. And I'm a big fan of Motorola. I think they have some of the best cellular gear on their devices, the radios, the antennas, the
hmm
modem systems, you know, when they go, you know, Snapdragon. You
yeah,
know, that stuff is great. The microphones, like the actual things that matter with a smartphone, Motorola does them really, really well, but they fall short with, you know, software and those types of things and support. They don't do trade-ins like the other guys do.
yeah.
You know, I could trade in a 2-year-old Galaxy or a 1-year-old Galaxy and get several hundreds of dollars. I can't even trade in my old Motorola to Motorola.
Oh yeah,
You know, they like some of these, like, so they're not in a position to truly compete with a company like Samsung or a company like Google, who will take your, you know, phone and give you a new one and give you a discount and, you know, trade-ins, and they just don't scale, you know, to in the way that allows them to compete in the flagship space.
I wish they would. I really wish that they would though, and hopefully in the future that they actually reach that point. So I know my wife is going to be upgrading her phone for her birthday, and the one that she is eyeing right now is the Razer Plus 2024 model. So the one that just came out like a week ago. She's going after that one. I told her, hey, you know what, give it a shot. You know
Dude,
what?
I will sell her my Moto Razr from last year, and she can name her price.
I'll let her know when she
I
gets home
swear
from
to
work.
God, if she wants a good deal, I have the box, I have the charger, I have the cable. I mean, it's a cool phone and everything.
Yeah.
But you know, that's it. When a phone is a year old and I've already reviewed it and I've already tested it, I will gladly extend a good deal to someone, especially someone, you know, that is you know, very close to you, of course. So yeah, if she's
I
interested
appreciate
in
that.
saving some ducats, she can name her price.
Cool. I'll let her know when she gets home from work today.
All right.
Um, to kind of wrap up on just this subject of the Pixel, because there's not really much that we really could go on other than like the rumor specs, and I really don't like focusing on those just because August 13th is when we'll get the real deal. We'll know everything in and out, and I'm gonna live react to it on the 13th. So I'm
I'll
like
be
ready.
tuned in, Tito. I will be there listening and watching.
But I can tell people this for sure, me being a Pixel fan, that this is probably one of the launches, the way that the design of the device is, and some of the rumors that I'm hearing is not one of the ones that makes me want to go ahead and just grab the rest of my Pixel phones that I have and sell them to make the money to get it. It doesn't give me those vibes. So that's speaking volumes on like a little disappointment that I have, but I'm waiting until the 13th to really like let them tell us exactly what is. I did want to switch tracks though, because I've been having a blast for the last week, I would say. Like, if I'm watching a movie with my kids in my room, we're watching stuff like on Peacock or on Disney Plus or whatever, and there's advertisements. Long and behold, the man who used to be on the earlier Verizon ads with the Can You Hear Me Now, who later jumped ship to Sprint and was doing their commercials, is now back on Verizon.
Yeah.
What's going on with Verizon, man? Please fill me in. I catch some of your live streams when you have your panel and you guys are talking about it. But it's a solid time for you right now. If you just want to fill me in on what's Verizon's move with the brand icon change and everything.
All right. So the whole concept behind bringing back the Can You Hear Me Now guy is they're trying to garner the attention, like what Verizon has been known for in the past. Mm-hmm. So they're using nostalgia, I think, as a strategy or a technique, something that people know and remember about Verizon, the golden era, when they were in their prime and peak form. So they're taking that and they're going to do this for, I think, 2 different advertisements. So there's 2 commercials that are going to run with the whole concept of the Can You Hear Me Now. They're only doing that so they can introduce the new elements, the rebrand, the new colors, the new logo, and then they're going to start to massage in or finesse in the new marketing. So you see how they're doing it, Tito?
Yeah.
Get the attention for the things that people know and then introduce the new things. So they're going to do the whole like logo change. They're going to do the colors. They're going to do like the Verizon My Plan, My Home. They're going to talk about mobile services. They're going to do 5G home internet. They're going to introduce all the new stuff and the add-ons with the streaming platforms and all that. But they have to start first with what people know. It looks like that's going to be the approach. They have a new chief marketing officer. Her name is Leslie Berland.
Yeah.
And that appears to be her technique. That appears to be her strategy, is use the old, what people know, introduce the new, whatever is going to be the transitional piece and direction. And then that should be effective for them. And I think it's going to work, actually. But they don't want to stay and delve in the old.
Right.
You're only doing it to grab the attention. And then, probably towards the end of those videos, those 2 advertisements with the Can You Hear Me Now guy, they probably introduce some of the new elements, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. And then the next set of advertisements will be without him, and we'll be emphasizing this new connection to the new branding, the new logo, the new, whatever they're selling, whatever the services are. And I think what they probably have to start emphasizing is, instead of it being about like, can you hear me now on a phone call, it has to be FaceTime. It has to be video calling. It has to be, payment transfers. It has to be, the things that everybody does today, because when Verizon was making those commercials 10, 15 years ago, I mean, all we were doing was calling.
Yeah.
Texting had just begun, but that's not what people do primarily with their phones now. Primarily people are consuming video. They're live streaming. They are video calling. They're doing payment transfers, at payment terminals, point of sales. They're sending money to their family or whatever. Like, they have to show the use of all these applications and the process being seamless, instantaneous, and reliable. See how you could tie in the reliability piece, because that was always Verizon's claim. We're the largest network, we're the most available network, we're the most reliable network. They still need to put that in there, but it needs to be to a modern use case. And I think that's what you're going to be seeing moving forward with the rebrand.
Yeah, well, I mean, their tactic is working because that nostalgic buzz of "Can you hear me now?" was like, whoa, because we used to see those commercials a lot on TV back in the day, 20 years ago, 15 years ago. We used to see a lot of that. So that's a good thing to do because you're right. It will get the attention, especially those that remember the days when it was just all about voice calling and T9 texting on cell phones. We remember those ad campaigns, and for them to modernize it and switch it up, if they were to have him continue to do their campaign but switch it up to like "Can you see me now?" on the, like, showcasing a Face ID call or video call,
Hmm.
that would be pretty awesome for them to kind of do that and really just kind of show what Verizon can do. Because Verizon is, in my city, I can say that Verizon is, they're making moves. There's places, and I don't use Verizon postpaid, right? I use an MVNO, Mobile X. Um, and I can definitely see, the stability of the network strength. So I'm just not just judging in like speed testing, downlink, uplink speeds, but also latency. And then the apps that I use, and just like, how much more smoother the response is in using the app, which obviously uses data. Because like it seems like that this year there's a lot of movement, big moves, change ups that's happening in the telco industry. Um, I caught your live stream segment clip where you guys talked about. I think I remember. I don't remember who said it. You'll probably know who said it, but one of your panel members was saying that they give Dish till 2025. Um, that they might go bankrupt. I mean, when you hear all these things, because of where we were before, when we used to have Sprint, T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon, to what we have now with this restructure because of Sprint and T-Mobile's merger, and Dish is now the fourth carrier. And I've done a live talking about one of the hardest things that Dish can't really overcome is having people understand that they are postpaid. They are to be considered like T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon. Yet it's so hard. People can't see them that way. Like I get tons of those questions on the Facebook group. It's like, what are they? Are they sister companies, or are prepaid as well? And it's like, no, they're postpaid. you know, but I mean, the if I can ask you five key things that Dish could do to save themselves, what would you say those things would be?
Dish needs to mend the damage that has been plaguing their retail distribution. They have, I mean, I've never seen anything like this. They've completely alienated their dealer channel. They
Yeah,
have destroyed whatever positive rapport they've had with such a large number of their dealers, their authorized sellers, their store owners. I mean, it is absolutely, unequivocally one of the worst things I've seen. The only thing I would say is on par with that destruction has to be Metro and Metro by T-Mobile, right?
yeah,
What happened with them post T-Mobile and Sprint merger? It's the equivalent of that. Um, and I would argue that Dish is worse. But yeah, they have to fix that because that's retail and that's distribution. Those are the people that are the front line. They are there. They represent your brand. They need to be compensated well at the same time. They need to be supported. They have to fix those relationships. It is atrocious.
yeah,
They're currently, I think, also, so we'll call this item number 2. Dish has been unable to distinguish itself in any meaningful way, right? So they haven't been able to explain to people why they should leave Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile and go to them. So the messaging has yet to really be created. It's going to get people to leave the big guys and go to them. The third thing I think is the marketing. It has been really bad. The most recent campaign was a little bit better than the first hurrah, but it's been
mhm,
weak at best, right? So you've got those things, so they need to address that. I would say that the fourth thing that they can do is at least push that Samsung anytime, iPhone anytime deal. Like really, that needs to be leading in the commercials because AT&T is growing because they offer customers the best trade-in deals.
right.
Any customer, right? Entry level plan, premium plan, makes no difference. New or existing customer, doesn't matter. They could adopt some of the things that the other carriers are doing that work. So take what T-Mobile has done successfully and found traction with and adopt that. Take what has worked for Verizon, adopt that. Take what has worked for AT&T and adopt that. But you've got to make it look unique and fresh, and you've got to make it your thing so you can be distinguishable. But Frankenstein some kind of a layout that could work for you in an industry that has become quite mature, and it's hard to disrupt. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Tito. Take a look at what T-Mobile did for the last decade. They only went from 11% market share to 17% market share until the Sprint merger. So to show you how hard it is to beat guys like AT&T and Verizon, it's tough. T-Mobile really didn't do it until they consumed Sprint. So it's a very, very difficult task. And I also think you have to stabilize the company, and that might be number one, but it's the fifth thing. The leadership, the executives have been churning in and out of there. It's like a freaking merry-go-round. It's like a revolving door. People just coming and going. There's no stability there, right? And the reason why that stability is so important, you can't expect people to go to war for you, to go through walls for you. If you don't believe in what you're doing, then why the hell would they? Right? So there's been a lot of those problems, and it starts at the top and it works its way down, and I think just stability, leadership, a direction, and, seeing it all the way through. Those are the things I feel are probably the top 5 things. Oh, and by the way, through all of that, it has to be consumer focused, because the other guys aren't. They used to be, some of them, but now this is your chance. You can fulfill that lane. We are the consumer friendly carrier.
Yeah. The craziest thing is this is why I laugh at Dish. They have this knowledge at their disposal, right at their feet, because my friends, shout out to them because they watch my live streams when they can, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be happy to hear that. I wanted to kind of get that on there. I wanted my friends that work at Boost Infinite to know that, as much as they at work are trying to relay this back over to corporate through the channels that's given to employees there of sharing this information, a lot of us agree and feel the exact same way. There isn't a store that anyone can go to get help. That is probably a good 40% of posts in my Boost Infinite group on Facebook. It's always that. It's like, I can't go anywhere and get help. There's this issue that SIM cards are frying like hell. There's one guy that I feel so bad with because I chat with him periodically, and he tells me when he gets a new SIM card sent to him, because it's like he gets a new SIM card, he calls in, they program the SIM card, he puts it in his phone, and then like 2 weeks later, it hits SOS on his iPhone. And then nothing they can do can bring that card back, so they send him another SIM card, and he's gone through, I think he's on number 12 right now.
Does he have a phone that supports eSIM?
It does. I don't know what happened with that, because we've been suggesting that, like, switch it over to eSIM and then see what happens there. When he goes through that channel process, like what he explained to me in chat was he gets to the point where the representative tells him, like, after they give him that thing, like, make sure there's no physical SIM card in there, no other eSIMs, active. Make sure your phone's connected to Wi-Fi, and then they do what they do on the system cap. And then once they're done putting in the information in cap, then you got to wait for the profile to show up to download. And that's where he gets stuck at, because the profile never shows up.
So it's a failed process. So we've seen this. Dude, I'm living this. So I have a Project Genesis account.
Mm-hmm.
And I purchased the Samsung Galaxy S22 like when it first launched beta, right? Project Genesis.
Yeah.
And that phone has been long gone. That phone was traded in to Samsung so I could upgrade to the S24. The phone unlocked from Project Genesis, whatever. I paid for it outright, by the way, and it still stayed locked for a year.
The hell?
Yeah, so it literally took 1 full year to unlock on its own, right? But
yeah,
to make a long story short, I'm trying to get a new SIM, because the SIM that I currently have, which is from the S22, the way that those SIMs were provisioned, it was one SIM was eSIM and one SIM was physical SIM. And that dual SIM was the only way to get Project Genesis to work on the S22 because the S22 didn't support Vonar at launch.
Whoa.
Okay, so that means AT&T was used for calling. And that means Dish was the data network. And if Dish wasn't available, they would move you to AT&T, connect to their towers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that was the whole process. But the S22 is gone. I now have an S24. I put in the SIM card into my S24. It only connects to AT&T. So the only way that SIM card, that line, will ever be connected to the internet is through AT&T. Customer care told me the way that Project Genesis is, no matter what I ever do, that line, this account, will always be stuck on AT&T. It will never connect to Dish Native. I said, ma'am, I'm trying to connect to the Dish Native network. This is going to cost you guys money to keep me roaming on AT&T.
Right.
I went and asked my friend to send me a Rainbow SIM. They said they can't activate it under the Project Genesis line. So basically, my only option is for them to move me from a Project Genesis over to Boost, which changes my whole account status.
Wow.
I don't want to change my account status. I want to remain a Project Genesis user. But it appears to me, Tito, that they've bailed on Project Genesis support completely, and they don't even want to deal with it anymore.
Sounds like it, because one thing that they are late to, when I was working with them, I told you that once they were done with Republic Wireless, they were going to start migrating Project Genesis, and they're late to doing that, because we're in July of 2024 and they still haven't even begun to migrate over. So it's kind of like they abandoned support for Project Genesis users, in the notion that they were supposed to migrate them to Boost Infinite. At the same time, they didn't do the migration, so it's like it's a toss up in air. What the guy told you about, it being stuck on AT&T forever, I'll tell you right now, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. Backend team can actually fix it. It's just that they don't want to go through the proper channels of escalating it. It's what it sounds like.
Well, Tito, if you can help me in some way to maybe coach me through this, or what I could tell them, on the maybe on kind of like the background, maybe we could talk later.
Yeah, there's one person that I know that gets things done. Sadly, he's in one of the most toxic places to be. So I don't know if you still have a Reddit account. But if you do, his username is Boost Infinite Blake.
I've never had a Reddit account.
Okay. I will send you the link to him. I don't know if you just want to fudge an account just for this scenario and reach out to him, but he's got a good I would say 98% turnaround time on getting things done. So a lot of people reach out to him in DMs on Reddit to get something done with Dish, because he for some reason, I don't know, I want to say that he's probably the person that's in the back office team, and that's why he can get it done, because you're talking directly to a back office.
I'm definitely going to reach out to him, man, for sure, because I don't want to be on the AT&T network. I have, through Los Mobile, I have a business AT&T line. I have a FirstNet a line. I don't need more AT&T access, let alone second tier AT&T access. I don't need that. I want Dish access. I want their network. I love their network. I think it's incredible what they've been able to do in a couple of short years to build that network to reach 70% of the country's people, and to offer a standalone 5G network built from scratch. I want that. I want to support them in that way, but they won't help me help them, which is crazy.
Yeah, they have a very lazy team. They've let their care reps get away with so much stuff. And I think that's, like I said, I've said this before. It's probably just regurgitation here at this point when I say, that was probably one of the things that pissed me off about working for them, was you have a customer care team that's not focused on customer care. So then what the hell are we doing here? Manning phone calls. There's more of I don't know if you remember that movie In the Army Now with Pauly Shore, where they stuck people to the side of the tanks. That I felt like that's what customer care rep for Dish was just they stuck us as body armor to the tank to take bullets, because outside of that, the scope of things, we really didn't have ways of resolving issues.
Something, Tito? This is the honest to God truth, man. I I'm very selective about my partnerships on my YouTube channel.
Hmm.
I have a couple, and the one that I found it very, very easy, and I thought it was a slam dunk partnership, was Mint Mobile. And the reason I chose them and they chose me was because they stood for the things that I valued as in a cellular carrier. They make things easy.
Hmm.
They are fully supportive of customer care. They just want you to be happy and they want you to continue to be happy paying your bill to them. Right? They
Yeah.
they they make it easy, simple, no frills, and that's why I chose them for that partnership. It's really hard to stand behind any of these other companies. They really don't give a damn. It's almost
Yeah.
like once they've acquired a customer, they're just like, well, who cares? We've got them. But that's a horrible way to look at it. You need to fight to retain your customers because if you don't, they leave. And then they become someone else's new customer. And then
Right.
it's that revolving door. And churn rate, these companies need to start valuing churn. They can't sit there and just worry about, oh, we need to acquire new customers. Yeah, you do, but the way that you acquire new customers is by creating happy returning customers, because when happy returning customers talk to potential new customers, they win over your business because of their spoken word. Oh, I
Right.
have X carrier. They treat me very well. I've been with them for 10 years. Never had a problem. They always take care of business. You cannot name a more effective marketing strategy than a customer who pays you, who is also going to push your brand for you because it's that good. Nothing is more powerful than that.
Yeah. Word of mouth. That is true, and especially in the telco market right now, if you were to ask people the top three things that irritate customers with their carrier, one of them is not having the support, not having the not just support, but more of like the being valued, not feeling that they're valued as a customer. That is like one of the top three complaints. And a company that can fulfill that, make a customer feel good about choosing them. Obviously, free advertisement, because you're right. I hear it in conversations at work. Some people will talk about it. I'm with this company. I'm with them because this, and that. But one of the things that's always said in that conversation is their customer service is great. I get taken care of all the time. Hell, even what's his name, who usually comes on the live stream here, watches, Michael, goes by Joy San Joaquin Valley. Every time that I'm on a live stream and I'm talking maybe like Boost Infinite or something, like he always goes in. I believe he's with what are their names? I know they're a Verizon MVNO. I think
Oh, is he with
Spectrum.
one of the cable guys?
Yeah, I think it's with Spectrum.
Mm,
I think that's who they're called.
okay.
Um, but he's always talking about how their in-store reps are good to him, their customer care reps are good to him, and that proves it. Like people will tell you, like, hey, my carrier is solid because of the service I get and the reps who take care of me. You're absolutely right on that. Um, so how do you feel about now that the whole acquisition of Mint to T-Mobile? Like,
Yeah, so the situation with T-Mobile with that acquisition, they did say that they were going to leave the brand alone, allow them to continue to operate as is. And that makes me happy because I think that we as consumers deserve that brand, deserve that carrier to be who they were and to remain that way in the future. The only question becomes is how long? How long are they
yeah,
left alone? How long can they continue to operate that way? Because when companies get acquired, they usually take on the identity of the acquirer at some point.
yeah,
So that remains to be seen because as it is, they're one of the best, if not the best, when it comes to customer care combined with pricing and value, right?
yeah.
And they fit the needs of a lot of folks who are looking for that type of niche service. If T-Mobile were to change that, well, then they just become another one of the brands and they don't stand out anymore.
I hope they don't change it because
And they've made, and think about it, like they have over 1 million customers. So the people that know about Mint and have tried them and they suit their needs, they're not going anywhere. They pay for months in advance for that service and they trust that it's going to be solid. They're not going to have trouble and they can accept the terms of the deal.
yeah. And I call them Mint Mobile to me. Like they're awesome on this, and this is how I know that they are making a huge impact, in the prepaid market, because there are other companies that are adopting their style of things, like Visible's doing something similar with their annual plans. I think Boost does something similar too. A lot of them are starting to do that, not in the exact same way, because Mint does it where you could do 3 months, 6 month, or annual. My son is on an annual Mint plan, which works out great for him because he pays his phone bill when he files his tax return. And when he gets his tax return, that's what he uses to pay for his next year of service. And he loves it because it's I pay for it. I got it for a year. I don't got to worry about a phone bill. So all he's got to worry about is, going to college, paying for gas in his car, and that's it, and rent.
I get it, man. I get it. It's a way to save money. It's a way to put everything together. It lets you see what you're working with. And because you've dealt with them before and you know the company, there's confidence and security in it. You're good with it.
Yeah, he just always makes fun of my shirt because I got an old shirt they sent me from like back in, I think it was like 2016, when it was called Mint Sim.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
He always makes fun of my shirt because I wear it, I go out, and he's just like, they don't even call it that anymore, Dad. I'm like, but the OGs will know what it is.
Yeah.
It's good stuff, man. I'm like, with Mint, I think I hope that T-Mobile just leaves them alone. Like, they have them, it's cool. Let them be. Don't try to merge companies together to consolidate.
Well, the question is why they acquire them, right?
Yeah.
What was the goal? Was the goal to eliminate a competitor, or was the goal to acquire talent, or was the goal to acquire market share? Like, it just depends what their intentions are. We won't know that for about a year.
I heard rumors on that.
We seem to learn a lot about T-Mobile and their intentions within one calendar year. Whenever they do something, we know what it was for a year later.
Well, I'll ask you this, because I heard rumors. Would you say that Verizon was eyeing Mint Mobile?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And the reason why I believe Verizon wanted to acquire Mint was their marketing. They wanted Deadpool. They wanted the persona, they wanted the brand, they wanted the team, they wanted the intelligence, they wanted the ideas, the skills, the momentum. They wanted that. Yeah, they wanted that. And I think T-Mobile came in, overpaid, and blocked. Yeah, it was a cock block, essentially, is what it was. Yeah,
it seems that way, because that would be one way to make sure that Mint didn't fall in the hands of Verizon, because I can only imagine.
Think about it, Tito. Mint Mobile rides on the T-Mobile network. What was T-Mobile's business acquiring them?
Yeah, plus also, like, one of the things I've seen a lot of online with places that I delve in to read stuff, and you would always hear people talking about that they left T-Mobile for Mint only because affordability.
Yeah, they wanted the network, but they wanted to pay a better price.
Yep, and they got that, and of course, because you can, and I don't know if most people know this, but you can go month to month on Mint if you wanted to.
Sure, different rate and stuff like that.
Yeah, but most people will go for the bundles because it's a better value. You can pay your bill at one time and not worry about it for a couple of months to even as far as a year. And who doesn't want who wants to worry about a phone bill every month? That's one of the anxieties I face all the time, is keeping my lines active. So it's like,
back in the day, Tito, I used to recommend, if people were looking for smartphone access on the low, I used to tell them Visible, I used to tell them Cricket, I used to tell them Metro and Boost. What I like to call the urban unlimited carriers.
Yeah.
I've actually completely shifted. I think the prime destinations are Mint Mobile, US Mobile.
Oh yeah, US Mobile's making
big
moves.
I think these are the brands that people need to start looking at, because they do things that are different. All these other guys are the same. They don't do anything unique. But the ones I just named, those two specifically, seem to have a uniqueness, something that distinguishes them from the rest of the industry in that particular segment of cellular space.
Yeah. I guess that's kind of like in the same reason why I have a partnership with Helium.
I think Mobile X is kind of involved too. I think they're got a interesting proposal to the industry. So I'll throw in them as kind of a wild card. We'll see how they
Yeah.
execute, but yeah, we'll throw them in there too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Mobile X. I reference Mobile X to people that are not heavy data users, exactly to that point. And of the 133 people here in Phoenix that I know that has switched over to Mobile X, because I've seen how much data they use and what their day-to-day thing is like, they're happy paying a bill less than $15, less than $10, because they're not heavy data users. Like, these are like some of the people that I know that maybe just use their smartphone to check their email, text message, family, phone calls, and that's it. They're not really consuming YouTube videos, TikToks, or any of that crap. So they maybe do like 2 gigs a month at best, and they switched over. So
yeah, those consumers sound like they're doing some email, they're doing some map services.
Yeah,
they might stream some music, right? And that's really low bit rate consumption. So like, what's a couple of gigs?
Yeah, and they're happy to switch over. And Mr. Adderton, you heard it on my podcast, 133, bro. I like messing with Peter. He's funny.
Yeah, he's good for the industry, I'll tell you.
Oh yeah, he is. Lately, I've been seeing him. Besides, what he's been going on talking about, T-Mobile, his post on X.
Oh, he's active on X. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's very active. It's cool though. I think the thing that I admire about him, the fact is that when it comes to like Mobile X, his business and like his business vision, a lot of that you can see a lot of it posted on X. Other platforms like Instagram that he's on, that's like his personal life. Like, you're just seeing him go to like the NASCAR races where his car's entered in. You see him do BMX biking, mountain biking, extreme sports. That's what he does on his other socials. So if you want everything that has to do with Mobile X, just follow him on X. That's like the one place you're gonna get the best info. And that's that on that. Other than that, I mean, yeah, US Mobile, dude, AT&T. So now they're T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T. They're doing what a lot of people have been wishing for.
Yeah. Now a lot of people, I think the best case scenario would be, I would basically switch between networks simultaneously, real time, moment to moment. You just connect to the best network. But I mean, that's kind of pie in the sky and not realistic. But I think what US Mobile has been able to do is they've given you the ability to access a portal, a command tool that allows you to switch networks between all of the big three. So nice. Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, and what you do is you request the switch to whichever network you'd like to be switched to. Mm-hmm. You complete the task. I think it takes 2 hours. I think the first 2 or 3 switches, they don't charge you for them. And then after that, you could switch up to 8 times a year, and I think they charge you a couple of bucks for each switch. So now if you notice that the first couple of them, the switches are on them because they want to see you pick the best network, right? They want you to say, well, okay, I'm going to open this account on T-Mobile. Okay, they're unreliable. I got a bad coverage area. I need it to work here. Go into the portal, switch over to Verizon, try that. Oh, they kind of, the data speeds aren't that great. Let me give AT&T a shot, see if it's a little better than Verizon. Right, so you've switched twice.
Yeah.
And they haven't charged you for it because the first few are on them. And then you try AT&T. Oh, this is great. I only have 1 week calling area. The data's always fast. I'm going to keep this. Right? I don't even have to switch. I'm going to roll with this. But then you go on vacation. And let's say you take a vacation to California, or, let's say you go to New York City for a couple of days, and the network is not good for whatever reason where you are. Within a couple of hours, you can have the port done and switch. And then you could switch back when you get back home. And yeah, I mean, after you've done a couple of switches, and they may charge you a couple of bucks, but I mean, you didn't have to sit there and deal with unusable service or problematic service. You didn't have to buy a carrier SIM from somebody else, and all those types of things. Like, that's because, and this is why I put US Mobile in that conversation, Tito, and the same thing with Mint. They are removing customer pain points, and they are doing it in an innovative fashion. Meanwhile, the other carriers are creating customer pain points. they're making life more difficult on the consumer. That's why I put them in that conversation.
See, that's the crazy thing about it, is because like when I hear about US Mobile having access to AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, and then I hear about Boost Infinite. That was one of the things that they were pushing, right? Was to be able to switch between T-Mobile, AT&T, and their own native 5G. And I think back because being in an area having coverage is important to a lot of people. Like no matter what people can say to kind of downgrade that statement, doesn't matter. You want coverage all the time and wherever you go. That's the expectations that anybody has who buys a smartphone and just gets out there in the world. So it's funny because that was Google Fi's like biggest selling point back in the day, even when they were known as Project Fi. And the way that their system worked out, which I don't know if they have a patent on it, and that's why it's not been really replicated by anybody else or what. I wish they didn't. If they do, was the ability to actually have it switch like right there on command. No need to do anything. It just does it. Because that was one of the things that I gravitated to Google Fi for, was being on T-Mobile, switched over to Sprint, and then switched over to US Cellular when I went to Oklahoma to see my dad. And besides it automatically doing it, but you had there was a person who made a standalone app, Fi Switch, which basically utilized the dialer codes that would force you onto certain networks if you wanted to force yourself onto them. But it was seamless. It was easy. Sometimes you need, if you didn't want to do the force codes, you could just let your phone do it itself. And I haven't seen anything replace that. And I'm, honestly, for me, I really wish that one company could actually achieve that. That would be great.
It would be incredible. I mean, if there was a company that involved Verizon on that level, I'm their customer. I need that. I want that. They've been such a reliable carrier for me for so long. And it's not just about where I live. It's not just about where I work. But they've developed, such a reliable network in so many other places too, that I can have confidence when I travel. It's most likely going to give me the results I need. I've traveled to San Diego. I've traveled to Texas. I've been in New Mexico, Florida, the Carolinas, the East Coast, New York, Michigan. I've gone to all these states, and it continues to be a solid and reliable option. The only time folks want to leave a carrier is if their current one isn't good enough, or possibly their financial situation changes, so they're looking just for a better deal. They may have to find it from another network, right? So yeah. And I'm blessed. I mean, I can't say that I'm hurting for money. I continue to work my ass off to generate revenue, so we're good. Yeah. But they've just been an integral part of my connectivity, and they've continued to show me that they're just a really, really good network. And, T-Mobile's come a long way. I think a lot of folks are pretty happy with that network. AT&T continues to make upgrades. The FirstNet deployments really help their coverage and their capacity, so they've put themselves right there in that conversation. I mean, you can pick your carrier basically now, something other than the network usually. Like for 80-90% of the folks in the country, they're picking on pricing, they're picking on perks and add-ons, they're picking for something other than the network, because all three of them can give them a similar networking experience. Yeah,
for sure on that, man. I mean, one of the crazy things is, and like, you gotta let Carlos know this when you talk to him, but his video has made it out here to like people that I know. They don't watch a lot of tech videos on YouTube, but they found his video where he discusses what he did recently with testing Verizon's Unlimited.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they found your video where you shared.
Wait, so they found Carlos's and then found mine too?
Yeah.
Oh, sheesh.
It's okay, your guys' coverage on just how real Unlimited is. It's making its rounds. It's making its rounds, dude. And I was shocked. I mean, I've been following Carlos and what he posted on X. And I've seen what he stated to everyone, how he has this set up to where it consistently keeps running speed tests to run the data, so the data calculations go up. Mm-hmm. And it was like 160 terabytes he used. Was it
Yeah.
really that?
Yeah.
How? I'm still amazed by that. Like,
Well, I mean, I think it's a testament to the fact that their network is so fast where he is.
yeah,
So it's chomping up and chewing up all that data at an accelerated pace. And I think the fact that it's just this continuous run, it doesn't stop. Right? So
yeah.
it's that's there it is, right? And
I've
look,
had
Tito, when I made that video, when I made mine,
yeah.
like a part of that video was tongue in cheek and designed for entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to
Oh,
give you a
I
laugh,
laughed.
to give you a chuckle, right? And then
I
the
got a
other
laugh.
part of it was warning, like warning, don't do this because here's the outcome. You know,
Yeah.
and he did it so we didn't have to. You know, and
Yeah.
I think, and honestly, some folks were mad at the video.
Why?
They were of the impression that I was promoting abuse of network, and actually, I think for Carlos's sake, they thought he was promoting abuse of the network. I think the message was missed. He
Yeah.
did it as an experiment, so you don't have to live it, so you know what's coming down the pipeline. Here's what can and will happen if you do X, Y, and Z. You know, here's the way it played out. Here's the response, and here's the outcome.
Oh yeah, and you know what? To anyone out there that would question that, like, who would ever really, use 160 terabytes? Like, first of all, I'll say this: there are people today who don't get home internet. They will use any practical way to turn their mobile phone into their internet router and connect to their Xbox, PS5, and game online. And if you do a lot of gaming, especially at high res, yeah, I'm sure you can get close to that in a
Well,
month.
I think the downloading of the titles, the updates, I think all that's in play,
Yeah.
right?
So,
and I
yeah,
think,
you can get up to that.
Yeah, and if you know, there's like tricks, to where you can trick the network operators, what type of devices in the system, and I mean, there's all types of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Leave it to people that are desperate or just want to see the world burn. They'll figure out a way to ruin everything, right?
Yeah. And so by Carlos doing that test, I'll let you know that if you're even considering doing that, maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you should just, and I don't even know why today anyone will want to do that because, Verizon has home internet. My friend just recently got it because they opened up in his neighborhood. And that's all I hear from him all the time was, the recommendations that I told him that if, since he already had Verizon, I don't know how he missed it because I know Verizon was promoting the heck out of it, but he missed it. So
That's a good point. Yeah.
I told him at work, I was like, hey, dude, why don't you just get the home internet from Verizon? You already have a plan with them. So I'm sure, it'll be discounted to some degree and it's all on one bill. So you'll be good. And 5G can, do your daily things on like your smart TV and whatnot. And so now he's like loving it because he was on CenturyLink. And I think his bill total before was dang near like 189 a month.
What did he have? Home internet and TV?
I think he had something like that. I know it was a bundle. I just know what the additional bundle was, but hey, he saves now. I'm like, hey, yeah, use it.
And now with Verizon, they've got the whole like My Home,
yeah,
where they're giving people discounts on the streaming services.
Yeah,
and you don't have to be a wireless customer. You could just have the home internet. So you might pay $50 or $60 for home internet, and then maybe you want 2 or 3 streaming apps through Verizon, and they'll give you a discount. You might be paying $80 or $90 for your home internet plus all your TV entertainment.
Yeah,
so you basically cut your bill in half, right?
That's a pretty good deal because I'm pretty sure about this, and I know my wife's at work, so she can't watch this. I know she doesn't watch my replays, but I'm pretty sure for my birthday in August, I'm really sure that she is going to grab the Verizon home internet for me, only because she's been hearing me kind of complain about the T-Mobile one. I used to take this router with me, like if I go and take my kids to like one of the hotels in like Tempe, Mesa, Arizona, and we would stay there for like the weekend, just a little staycation, get out the house, kind of relax, go to the pool. I would bring that gateway with me and plug it in over there, so that way my kids in their tablets and stuff can connect when they want to watch like their cartoons and stuff. I can't take it from this address. If I do, it won't have service if I take it anywhere else. Like they've locked my gateway.
Yeah, they're geo-locked now. So they changed their policy on that. Or I shouldn't say they've changed it. They've started to enforce the policy.
Yeah, they started enforcing it, and I do believe that there's a way to unlock it, but you're paying more per month for the
Sure.
service. And I'm not paying more than what I want to pay right now. Like,
Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, the cost is exponential. So if you're currently paying about what, 40, 50, 60 bucks or something?
$50.
Okay, so if you wanted to go the unlimited and be able to kind of go nomad with it, your bill's going to triple.
It's like
It's going to jump
180,
up.
right?
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be 3x or 4x more. If you want the limited version of it where you have like 200 gigs of data or something,
Yeah.
you could still like be nomadic with it, but it's I think 120 bucks. Right? So there's no version of this where you're winning as a customer. You, in order to be mobile with it, you're paying double, if not triple, if not quadruple. Right? So yeah, that's unfortunate. But that, I mean, that's the design of the device was supposed to be to a fixed location. It's supposed to be a home broadband option. They've been pretty lenient and lax about signups and not geo-locking, but now they've changed those policies, well, enforced their policies, and I think it's because their network has become unstable and unpredictable
Yes.
due to that heavy usage within those specific sectors of towers, and they just need to be in control of their network more, right? Because
Makes
I think
sense.
what's ended up happening, Tito, is people's mobile experiences have degraded in certain scenarios, and they don't want that to happen anymore.
It makes sense. It's like one of those things where I'm just like, because if people buy into a product and it works and behaves a certain way, like I may be reaching here when I say this, but I think it's safe to say that most people, they don't really like dealing with a lot of change, right? They like it where it's like it's set, it works, go. And so if you have like hundreds and hundreds of people that are used to being able to move that thing and still have it work, to then now locking it to the home address they signed up with, and then having them pay more for it, I mean, that kind of like does more damage, in my opinion, than doing better. Like if it was meant to just stay in a fixed place and not move, that should have been enforced from the jump, so that way people aren't used to doing extra things with it that they no longer can do now. But that's just my thought on that. I don't know if Verizon can be movable without having to pay a huge amount. I haven't researched it, but
So it's the same guidelines. I think the way you got to approach it is pretty simple. You may get away with it, you may be able to do it, but they reserve the right to obviously geo-lock. It is a fixed service, so it's basically the same rules and guidelines as T-Mobile, right? But they may not be enforcing it, so you might get away with it, or for, I don't know, who knows how long, whatever the case may be. But I have moved it around, but to be honest with you, Tito, the places where they have the 5G ultra wideband upgrades,
yeah,
it doesn't seem like Verizon cares all that much. There seems to be a lot of capacity to go around on those modern sites, and they don't seem to mind. Now, if you go to a cell tower region where it's like LTE only, or it's just low band 5G without much bandwidth on air over there,
Yeah.
and there's not a lot of capacity, they're probably not going to like that, right? So that might spark an investigation on the system side of things.
Well, I mean, I can say for this much, most of the places that I tend to do my staycations at, the area coverage with Verizon is really good, and it's not something that I do a lot. It's maybe like once a year type of
What's
thing.
it going to cost, Tito, the home internet? Because I know you don't have like a Verizon postpaid account anymore, right?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But she does have Visible. That's why she's going to do it. I'm pretty sure she's going to do it.
Oh, okay. So that'll get you like a $10 discount or something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that makes it more affordable even.
Yeah. I'm more excited, not because I can maybe once in a while move it. I'm not really more excited for that. I'm just more excited for like my podcast to be more stable, because in the last year, the quality that I was getting before, the stability on the T-Mobile home internet has really degraded. Like,
yeah.
That
was one of the things I remember commenting. I've been watching your streams forever, Tito. I'm always there. I noticed that when you started using the T-Mobile home internet, the streams would kind of get a little sketchy.
Glitch.
Like it'd be like a video problem or a buffering issue or audio cutting out. and that's, dude, nobody wants disrupted playback as your viewers. So like that impacted your business in a way, right? Like
Yeah.
how you're conducting your streams. So yeah, you need reliability. You don't need 7,000 megabits downlink. You don't need 100,000 megabits uplink. You need a low latency, low jitter, stable connection of 5 to 10 megabits on both sides of the downlink and uplink.
Yeah, I definitely need that, just because I have my live streams here where I talk about tech. On my secondary channel, like I podcast about pro wrestling, and I do gaming because I have a couple of emulators on my PC. But when I do the gaming, it's really hard for me to do it on the T-Mobile home internet, only for the simple fact that I have to close the window that has the restream on, so I can't really see anyone's chat. And like I ghetto rig it in this way, like I close that so it doesn't have the game start to stutter and lag. And then I have one of my phones on my desk open with the volume down, open to the actual stream, and I watch the comments from there. But it sucks because anyone that comments on Twitch, I can't see. So if I would have to open up multiple phones to do that, that's ridiculous.
So something I'll say is, obviously the Verizon 5G home internet has a dedicated QCI, right? So you're getting a quality service indicator. You're getting an actual like expected experience on the service. So there's that.
Yeah.
I think also for Verizon, they have better gateways, like the actual premise equipment, like what they're going to send you and ship to you is going to be a higher quality, higher performing, more reliable, standard of excellence, right? So in my experience, as I've tested all these services, those are some of the things I've seen. I think it's going to make a difference.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. So I didn't let her know that I knew. I'm not gonna ever let her know that whosoever kind of snitched on her for it. But I'm so ready. But I've been very tight-lipped about it because I don't want her to know. Because anything that I do, like on YouTube, on social media, any crazy idea that I have and try out, like she's always my biggest backer. And anything that she could do to help, she always does it. And I know that's why she's doing this, because she sees like sometimes I get frustrated. Like when my streams are done, people might call me crazy. I go back and I rewatch my live stream to see if the audio was good throughout the entire thing. And I really get bummed out when there's like a part where like the video freezes and I'm like in this awkward facial expression, and then the audio starts to like go in and out, and I'm like, fuck.
So what's the situation, Tito? Is it because the T-Mobile signal in your home is weak, or is it an issue of just the network quality just isn't there?
I would say the network quality isn't there, because like for like basic stuff, like I have a Metro by T-Mobile line, so let's go with that. Like on my phone, on device, through that, the network is fine. I mean, but I'm only doing basic shit like Facebook, X, and stuff like that. Not doing any like live streaming like this. But I would say for like home internet, the network quality, it really degrades because everyone in the house uses this. Like my son and his computer, he does whatever he does with his friends. They're like building a video game. And so they're online, they're video chatting, they're doing all their things. And so I try not to live stream when they're doing that, or like when my daughter's playing Fortnite with her friends. I try not to be on the live stream doing that, because then the stream will be far worse than what it is. Like right now, the reason I said I'm going to have my camera off is because earlier I did a live stream on my second channel and I was just talking about a game that I liked. And when I had the video feed going, it really fucked up the stream. So I was like, okay, for this one, to make sure it doesn't happen, I'm just going to be off camera and just do audio only. And it's been that way since we've been in excessive heat warning as well. So I don't know if that's making a play on the tower nearby that it's getting really hot.
Yeah, it may. I mean, any type of radio network with all the hardware, I mean, all that stuff is a factor.
Yeah, because we're really hot right now. We're cooking for the next week. I think we're above 112 for the rest of this week into middle of next week. So it's hot.
Yeah, I've always recommended to people, if you can get just a stable connection, and then and some people have been able to do this. They buy a router that they can customize the connections around their home, and they kind of build their own QCIs, right? So like, let's say they make a certain connection for a certain device. I just want this device to have 5 megabits down, 1 megabit up. All right. Or I want this channel of Wi-Fi to only have access to 100 megabits of downstream. You know, they could do that and stuff like so. Like the customizability with routers is an option to possibly help with these types of things too. But typically, we see people investing in those routers. They have access to fiber, you know, and cable connections and stuff like that. So, I mean, just to throw it out there, I mean, obviously, you'd be investing in more hardware. You'd have to get a actual router that has all those software features and stuff. But I mean, there are solutions, and you know, you have people who buy 2 fixed wireless options. You know, I've seen people do the Verizon and the T-Mobile home internet, and for their live streams, they do Verizon, and then for you know their other stuff, they're doing T-Mobile. They balance the workflow and demands of their home with 2 networks, and because they're 2 separate providers, they're not pulling from the same resources.
I think that's what's going to happen here in my house because, like, my initial plan, my daughter's taking over my Metro by T-Mobile line when she goes back to school, so she's going to take that line. I think, if it comes down to the way I think it's going to come down, and I get that Verizon home internet from my wife, then the T-Mobile router I have is going to go in my kids' room, and they'll be able to use it for like their online gaming on their PS5 and everything.
And then you can connect that to a wire, right?
Yeah. And the Verizon will be in my room, and the only person connecting to it is going to be me. So I could do my podcast.
Now, are you going to be connecting that wirelessly for your live streams or wired?
Wired.
Yeah. So what you could do is, Tito, is you can actually disable the Verizon Wi-Fi. And that way it's the only thing that's connected is going to be connected to Ethernet.
Yeah.
You could do that. You know,
that makes me happy.
And then what you could do is, you know, you could disable it and only enable it if you need it at a later time.
Yeah. I think I'll do it that way where when I give my daughter the Metro by T-Mobile line, the only 2 other lines that I'll have left is my Helium Mobile and Boost Infinite. And so, I'll be connected to Wi-Fi when I'm at home, so I'm not running up the data on those.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I can say there's only one good thing I can say about Helium Mobile aside from, their whole crypto side of things, because most people still find that to be super confusing. But I think the one good thing is because I did purposely use 30 gigs in a month before my month ended, and it really did drop to 1 megabit by 1 megabit.
1 by 1?
Yeah.
That's better than 2G speeds and 3G speeds.
Yeah, it was still manageable. I got on YouTube. I mean, my YouTube videos were streaming in 480p, but...
I was going to say, did they buffer at 480p?
No. It's crazy because they rely on the T-Mobile network primarily.
Yeah.
But, I mean, in my neighborhood, there's a lot of people that have started to deploy those outdoor hotspots and indoor hotspots.
Yeah.
So most of the time, I'm actually on the Helium quote-unquote network.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, sheesh. So it's actually working what they said they were going to do.
Yeah, it actually works. I'll tell you this much. The only reason why I'm keeping the Helium mobiles because I haven't paid a phone bill in almost 4 months already.
That's crazy.
I've been accumulating the Helium tokens that you get for having mapping turned on, and then I use that to pay my phone bill. Lawrence is weird. Lawrence always he scolds me like he's my dad. It's the funniest thing ever. He's always like, "Why are you paying your bill with your earned tokens? Just save it and cash out later." He's like, "That's what I'm doing," and I'm like, "Well, I mean,
I'd rather not pay another bill, dog. Like, what the hell?"
Because Helium is this funny thing. Helium's a big backer of Pixels. I think they're one of the only brands that really pushes Pixels. Because if you buy a Pixel through Helium, I think if you go to 7A, it's 4 months of free service. If you go with the 8, it's 6 months of free service. And
oh man, that's pretty good.
If they restock on the 8 Pro and you buy that, it's 1 year of service for free.
Oh damn.
Yeah, so I think since I partnered with them, I've just been whoring the hell out of my freaking promo code, just telling people you want to try it for a month.
How's
free.
That working out, Tito?
It worked out pretty good last month. I was really surprised.
That's awesome, man. Glad it's working. I mean, I think those partnerships are important. I don't think people realize, YouTube and AdSense, it ain't the move, man.
No.
I mean,
It's
if you're relying on YouTube AdSense, then you're probably going to have to get a night job that involves you losing your clothing. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm saying you got to figure out other ways. You know?
yes, you're no, you're absolutely right on that, man. I mean, I keep telling people those that reach out to me like on socials, and they're like, and they want to know how much I'm getting paid on AdSense, and I'm not shy about it. I tell people there's some months that I only get paid out $120. There's
Uh,
other months I get paid out 260. The most I've ever made in my entire time on YouTube in a month of a payment from AdSense was $340, and that's it. Um,
it's tough out here, Tito.
it is, and so like the idea that newer content creators that come in, I always try to like help them navigate through this world so they're not stepping on landmines. Don't come into the YouTube realm, join the partnership program, and as soon as you get accepted, you quit your job. No. Unless your content is really viral and we're talking like, double digit million views. No, you're not it's not a viable thing for you to pay your rent, pay your electric, put gas. I mean, you could put gas in the car, but it's not a viable option. Like a lot of people do make their stuff from sponsorships and partnerships. That's really the move.
Mhm.
You got to get sponsors. You got to get
But the
partners.
content you make is the media by which you get to those partnerships.
Yep. That's why, you just, for me, I've always told people just be you. Don't try to be anybody else. When you try to like copy somebody else's style, the way that they do things, it just, I don't know. For me, it feels unnatural. I like who I am. That's why I tell people, like, they're like, dude, you ramble and uhs and ums. I'm like, well, I don't have a script. I don't script.
Right.
I feel robotic when I script. Other people, they can script and make that shit sound really good. And I'm like, wow, that's fucking awesome. They got their notes, did what they did. Some people just do bullet point notes where they just kind of like give them a little spot to remember, oh yeah, I'm going to talk about this next. And then they can free flow off of it. But I'm like a genuine wing it. So, but yeah, AdSense does not pay the way people think it does. And there's a lot of hard work and a lot of growth you got to do to get to where you want to be and to even make it that. So
Facts.
yeah, man, it's not easy. It's not easy.
Not
Plus, too, you're a very popular person on Reddit,
really,
bro. So the people that love to leave you those oh so special comments that every now and then you love to grace all of us with a little comical point of view. They are on there as if like, and this is what I call this the most bitches move ever. They go on there to say those things. And it's like, I'm reading them and then I see your name pop up in someone's thing and they're like, you said this about this, this, and this, and how you're so dead wrong on this, and you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, wait a minute. Why don't you just debate him? Like, debate him.
Man, I have thrown the link, for like the StreamYard and invited people to come on and discuss, and they just don't. They just don't. But I mean, here's what it boils down to, Tito. You got people that are hiding behind faceless, nameless usernames.
Yeah.
Like I have an identity. I'm a licensed educator. I'm a father. I'm a brother. I'm a husband. Like I'm all these things. I'm a public figure because I'm out here on a platform, where millions have viewed my content. I'm a friend. I'm all these things. I'm a coach. I'm a mentor. I'm all these things. And something that I've learned along the way has been this concept of accountability. I'm not afraid of accountability. 99% of people don't understand that concept. They don't truly know what accountability is. And when they do know what it is, they don't want any parts of it because it hurts. Accountability hurts. It destroys ego. Accountability destroys selfishness. Accountability destroys, the pride. It is the most humbling thing in the world. They want no parts of it. So they take to a faceless platform where user 67852 said this, I mean, so basically what you should change your username to is I'm a bitch 458. You know what I'm saying? And their avatar, like platforms with avatars. Like remember the egg on Twitter?
Oh yeah, I remember
That's
that.
what all these people are. And to think that these same people will make troll accounts. Like they went out of their way to make 17 accounts that week, got booted off the platform for trolling everybody and their mother. They're not just targeting me, Tito. This is their identity. This is who they are. They are professional trolls. They're not
Yeah,
just doing it to me, they're doing it to anybody. This is who they are. It's sad, Tito. They don't have the capacity to do anything else productive. So they try to tear people down. They try to throw and sling mud. They try to be negative because they're unhappy with themselves.
yeah, that's a
They're,
sad part.
it's their deficiency. It's personal things that they haven't been able to tend to. They should seek therapy. It might be they think it's therapeutic to go onto a platform and just bitch and complain about something. To them, that's therapy. They're better off going to an actual licensed therapist and figuring out where the hole is that needs to be fulfilled.
Yeah,
And it's really sad. It really is. And they take personal shots at others. Why is it personal?
yeah.
What happened to disagreeing? I mean, you could leave comments. The comments are enabled on all my videos. Leave comments. I reply to basically all of them. Whether
Yeah,
they agree or disagree, it changes nothing in my world. It's just
yeah.
engagement. It's to give people a voice, to give people a way to express. And if you don't comment, but then you take to another platform to complain, I'm a bitch 6478 said. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the reason I brought it up is because what was it, like 2.5 weeks ago? Because I go on Reddit and I read what people say about Boost Infinite on there, and there's a spot where like a subreddit where someone runs it. They're talking about like T-Mobile and AT&T and Verizon, pretty much what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there was like people in there that was just being idiotic and stupid and whatnot. I said one thing to them. The only thing that I told him was if you truly feel this way, like, why don't you just get on his live stream and talk to him? You'd be surprised. Anyone can go on there. You just have to ask. I got booted. I got blocked. I can't ever see that subreddit again. They booted the hell out of me out of there for that. And I was being genuine. I wasn't trying to troll them back. I was just telling them, like, you're one of the one few creators on the platform that never changes. Like, your attitude is what I'm referring to. You never change. Like, this doesn't get to you.
So,
Like,
check this out, Tito.
Yeah.
If they took your advice or your recommendation and actually did that, they have no antagonist anymore. There's no more bad guy. I would rock their world. It would literally become, oh, Sneed's actually a man of respect. He actually listened to what I had to say and he brought me on his platform. That I'm not a bad guy anymore. They need me to be a bad guy. I'm telling you, Tito, I am living in their mind space for free. I don't pay rent. I am there chewing them up and spitting them out, bro, and I don't even know it.
Yeah.
And they need that because they don't have anything else going on, so that occupies them. I know it sounds weird, but that's human psychology. They need me to be that bad guy in their mind. In the real world, I'm not a bad guy. As much I love bad guys, by the way. I'm all about the villain life. But I'm not that. I can't be that. It's not true to who I am. I try to be a bad guy. It doesn't work. It violates my DNA. I tried. Believe me, I tried. I love villains. But I can't be that, right?
Yeah.
I'm a man of virtue. I'm a man of honor. I'm a man of respect. I'm a man of dignity. I value and have morals of very, like things that are wholesome. If they knew that about me, it would change everything, and they'd have, what would be their identity moving forward? They'd have nothing. So I need to exist in that way for them.
That's very sad. It's very sad
but
for
it's
them.
The truth, though. But it's the truth.
Yeah, it's the truth, and that truth just booted me out of there. I laugh at it because I told my wife about it, and she started cracking up.
Bro, think about it. You literally almost changed their life, and they were not ready for that. You created this moment of disequilibrium where they felt threatened.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I got just a little bit of time left here, so I just kind of wanted to wrap it up on a free talk, man. What are any plans for tomorrow?
Not really, man. Cold chilling. I'm off work, obviously, and very happy to be off work and just chill. I'll spend time with the fam, morning to the evening, and that's all I need, dude. Share a good meal with my family. Spend the time with my little ones. I got an 8-year-old. I got a 1-year-old. They just love being around me with me, and I just love spending time with them. So we'll have that.
Nice. I gotta go. Later on, my wife gets off work. I know we're heading. We're probably heading to Costco before they close. Gotta grab some stuff to throw on the grill, and I'm gonna be cooking my ass off tomorrow. Tomorrow's Lucy Juicy burgers. So.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, we're going in.
Yeah, enjoy that, man. I'm telling you, good food, good people. It's a fantastic combination.
Yeah. Best part is where they're doing the fireworks. They do it at this place called Indian Steel Park in Central Phoenix. Mm-hmm. It's maybe like 10 blocks away. So from my backyard, we can see the fireworks show.
Yeah, that's great, bro. So you don't even really have to relocate for them.
Hell no. Tomorrow's going to be hectic with traffic and the train. Bro, like the kids are like, why don't we go to the park and watch it? I'm looking at them like, please, please, please change your mind. And they're like, oh, Dad, you could just grill. I'm like, yes, definitely. I can grill.
Definitely.
I could do it. We'll make that happen.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I can't be around big crowds, man.
I feel you, bro. It's not really my shag either.
Yeah, I feel so.
I'd rather be sitting in my own car or standing on the top of the car or sitting in the trunk watching from the street.
Yeah.
Than posted up in one of those parks on a, picnic blanket and 7,000 people to my left and 8,000 people to my right.
Yeah, I get anxiety being around people, and then of course people's behaviors. That's what my wife doesn't like me in like public things, only because like say like there's a couple of young men and they're talking, and I understand their mentality and everything. Of course they're gonna cuss like sailors and everything like that. But like around my kids, I don't want them hearing foul language used like that. And I'm not one of those people that's quiet. So I'll tell you like, hey, clean your language up, But I might be cordial from the first statement. Second statement, I'm going to be direct. And then my wife gets scared because she's like, you can't fight all 6 of them. And I always tell her, I may lose the fight, but 2 or 3 of them are coming to the ground with me. I'm I'm not afraid of people and their crap. Like I'll call you out on your shit. But that's just because today, divide is probably one of the biggest things that happens quite a bit. Doesn't mean that we can't be respectful around each other. I'm not asking them to never cuss again. I'm just asking them if they're going to talk like that, go a little bit away from my kids so they don't hear it. But today everything's on Front Street, TV shows, everything like that. I get it. But still, I'm just that way.
The quality of parenting continues to fade. So if that was something that was instilled in them from a young age and there were repercussions and consequences for actions and accountability, their behaviors in public would be a lot different.
Oh, yeah. I think the saddest thing that's happening right now is a woman that's here in Phoenix. She was arrested, I think, like 2 weeks ago. She's going to go on trial here soon, and that's just because she left her kid in a car.
Oh, my God.
Dude, there's never really been a news article that's been a tearjerker for me. I'll admit, I cried when I read that article.
Tito, I think a lot of people make bad decisions, and sometimes I think it's substance abuse. I think sometimes those things are involved because it just doesn't make sense. The human capacity to make good decisions and to make bad decisions. I mean, sometimes I'm just like, nobody in their right mind would do that. So maybe they weren't in the right mind.
Yeah, they're just not thinking straight, bro. There's a lot of it happening here, at least in my state. That's probably one of the top things we're seeing. Like another lady's going to trial because she left her kid in the, those little electric swings that like rock your baby. Mm-hmm. She left the child in there for 14 days. She left to Vegas. I'm like, how do people do that? How do you go to Vegas?
It's gotta be substance abuse. There's just no other way. No way.
Bro, I find that thing so heartbreaking and everything. Because, I can't, me and my wife, we can't have kids anymore. She got her tubes tied. She's not having more kids.
You got a small army. You did good.
Sometimes I want another one. Like I'll tell you,
I
I'll
know,
get the
man.
baby feeder.
It's that whole like baby to little kid, that whole process,
Yes, I mean,
the timeline, like all the pictures and the photos and the videos and the milestones. It's so much fun, man.
it is. I mean, like I told my wife because she was always wondering, like, when are we all going to meet, right? And I'm like, Carlos is trying to facilitate that where we all meet up. I think he wants to do it at a CES, so we're all there for a tech event, but also to hang out. I was like, I told my wife, I was like, you have a little one, a little addition to your family, and I'm like, if I see that baby, I'm gonna be like, may I please hold the baby because I haven't held an infant in so long, and oh my god, man, like we got to do a podcast on that, on just about being a dad one day, maybe
it would be an honor to be on one with maybe you. And I think, does your sister have children? Your older sister?
Yeah.
That might be a good way to go, because you're going to get the perspective of dads and moms, right? So
yeah, that would be a good thing to do, because I mean, it's it's a lot of work, but it's not. But see, at least for me, and I'm pretty sure you feel the same way too. But when you're a dad, it doesn't feel like work. It's just like, it is the best joy having kids. I'll tell anyone out there, having kids, it's the best joy in your life. Anything could go wrong in your day. The moment you hit home, and your kids run up to you, and they scream your name, enjoy, every little messed up thing just washes away. It sounds so cliche.
Let me put it to you like this, Tito, and I think you'll be able to relate to it. I can lose everything in this world. I mean, like the whole world could go upside down, right? And if something were to happen to me, there's only one group of people who are going to be impacted. It is going to flip their world upside down, and it's going to be my wife and my children. Right? So
Absolutely.
my identity and what I've built and who I've become and my responsibilities and all the, like, that is like, they'll replace me at my work. Somebody else can do what I do. It doesn't matter how good I do it or whatever. Anybody can come in and teach lessons.
Right.
Same thing at the bakery. Somebody can fill in. Like, that's your place in the world as a worker. You can be replaced. You are nothing special. You are number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But there is nobody to replace you for who you are to those little guys.
That is absolutely correct, bro. Yeah, that's I wish other people could actually experience that, and they will in time when they're ready. I know I brought that up because I was just remembering my younger brother later on once talked to me about it, because he's getting married, and his fiance's thinking she wants children. He live streams on Twitch. He's a Twitch gamer, and I was telling him, like, because he asked me, how do I make it work? Like, how do I do these and still find time, to do things I do with my kids? And I told him that because I've been doing this since 2011. My youngest daughter was born in 2010, so I had a little infant when I started doing this. And I told him, like, that my schedule would primarily focus on my daughter. If I did have free time for anything, that's where I would make a video or go live. Like when we used to have Google Hangouts through Google Plus, it would simulcast to YouTube. I told him that's what I would do. Like, if my kids, and I told them this, if my kids asked me today and they said, Dad, we want more time with you, can you stop YouTube and everything, without even missing a beat, the channel will be gone. My kids will always come first, and their needs will always come first. But for them, they like to brag that their dad's on YouTube. So it's like they find it cool to tell their friends, and then when their friends come over, I get that question all the time, like, so do you make millions? No. If I made millions, do you think I'd be living here? I don't make millions on YouTube. But I always tell them the same thing. It's like, I do it because it's one of my joys. If I talk to them about tech, man, oh my God, their heads would explode.
Didn't have no clue.
Yeah, I just found a place where I can do it, and there's like-minded people that enjoy it, and I can get it out of me. Anything that I feel about tech, I can just get it out.
Yeah,
for sure. But you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and end this out, do outros. But I do really thank you for coming on here, and
Thanks for having me, Tito.
it was so fun hanging out, talking about
Pleasure,
pixels,
man.
yeah, telco, and everything else, man. Definitely, I'll talk to my sister about that podcast, and once I know when she's available, I'll run the time and the date by you. Make sure everything can correlate, can line up perfectly.
It's the summer. I'm very flexible. No worries.
Awesome. I know she just recently started going back to college right now, so.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah, see if maybe she might be the one that you have to work around her schedule.
Yeah. So I'll figure that out with her, and then I'll DM you on a Google Chat, let you know, and then we'll get it set up.
Solid. Thanks to everybody for watching the stream and all the comments and the chat going on. And Tito, thanks for having me again, man.
I appreciate you for being here. Everyone else, enjoy the rest of your day, and happy 4th of July tomorrow. I won't be doing anything on the channel tomorrow, so everyone's good.